In uncommon remarks on Tuesday, President Lee Jae-myung urged the National Assembly to accelerate its legislative procedures, emphasizing the critical need to pass bills that will enable South Korea to respond to the rapidly changing international environment. The Ministry of Health and Welfare announced medical school admissions quotas for 2027 through 2031, raising them by an average of 668 seats every year. Over 33.6 million accounts have been exposed in the data breach at e-commerce giant Coupang, a joint probe announced on Tuesday. The team is still investigating whether the breach involved a single attacker or multiple attackers. At a cabinet meeting on Tuesday, President Lee Jae-myung called on the National Assembly to accelerate its legislative work. This comes as the special act on South Korea's $1 billion investment pledge to the U.S. is still pending at the National Assembly. Here's our Blue House correspondent Song Yu-jin with the details.
President Lee Jae-myung has publicly made a rare appeal to the National Assembly to move faster with key legislation.
웬만하면 국회에 이제 이런 얘기 안 드리려고 했는데 좀 말씀을 드려야 될 것 같습니다. 지금 대한민국이 처한 상황은 과거의 평상시와 좀 다릅니다. 국제사회의 불안정성이 매우 높고 또 국가 간 경쟁이 질서까지 무너져 갈 정도로 치열합니다.
Presiding over a cabinet meeting on Tuesday, Lee warned that the current legislative pace is making it difficult for South Korea to respond effectively to what he described as a rapidly changing global environment.
외국과의 통상 협상 뒷받침, 또 행정 규제 혁신, 대전환을 위한 동력 마련, 이런 목표를 이루기 위해서는 대한민국 경쟁력 강화를 위한 각종 입법이 참으로 절실합니다.
The president called on lawmakers, regardless of party affiliation, to put national interests first in their role as representatives of the public. His remarks appear to refer to the Special Act on the Management of Strategic Investment between South Korea and the United States, currently pending review at the National Assembly. It provides the legal basis for managing Seoul's pledge of $350 billion to Washington in exchange for reduced tariffs. South Korea believes delays in passing the act contributed to U.S. President Donald Trump's recent announcement that tariffs on most South Korean goods could return to 25%. The process is picking up speed, with the National Assembly voting on Monday to form a bipartisan special committee to fast-track the bill. The committee has 1 month to review, amend, and approve the bill before sending it to a plenary vote. The government is also stepping up efforts, with Finance Minister Koo Yoon-chul saying on Tuesday that the government will establish a system to pre-screen potential investment projects to the U.S., acknowledging that the legislative process could add roughly 3 more months before the special act takes effect. Final investment decisions will proceed after the law is enacted. With the White House reportedly welcoming the creation of the National Assembly Special Committee as a positive step toward implementing the two countries' trade agreement, and Seoul's trade minister set to meet with the deputy U.S. trade representative on Wednesday, eyes are on whether South Korea will be able to secure its hard-won tariff deal. Song Yu-jin, Arirang News.
Also on Tuesday, the cabinet approved that highway tolls will be free of charge during the Lunar New Year holiday next week. So toll fees will be exempt nationwide from February 15th to the 18th. The temporary exemption is aimed at easing people's transportation cost burdens. The Transport Ministry expects more than 27 million people to travel across the nation during the holiday. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi thanked President Lee Jae-myung for his online post of congratulations on her party's recent victory in the lower house snap election. On Monday evening, the Japanese leader took to her social media platform to sincerely thank him both in Japanese and Korean. She also wrote that Seoul and Tokyo are important neighbors who must cooperate on the many challenges facing the international community. She further made note of President Lee's visit to her home prefecture of Nara last month, adding hopes to visit South Korea in the near future. Following a near two-year conflict between the government and doctors over the medical school admissions expansion, the government has today announced a concrete plan. It says it will gradually raise the quota over 5 years, but the medical community says it's no different from previous proposals. An Sung-jin has the details.
South Korea has finalized its medical school quota increase after a prolonged dispute since 2024. The government has put forth a 5-year plan to increase medical school admissions starting from the 2027 academic year to address regional and public healthcare shortages. Following a meeting by the Health and Medical Policy Deliberation Committee on Tuesday, the Health Ministry says that enrollment will, on average, increase by 668 students per year from 2027 to 2031, adding up to a total of 3,342 students over the next 5 years. The government is emphasizing that it's a gradual increase to avoid strain on medical education.
The committee has decided to implement the medical personnel expansion in stages, taking into account medical school education capacity, as well as the establishment of public and regional medical schools.
All additional places will be allocated to 32 medical schools outside the capital region and will supplement the regional doctor track, which requires graduates to work in their hometown for 10 years in an effort to strengthen local and essential healthcare services. The ministry said it will provide full support through residency and regional settlement. Compared to the previous administration's plan to add 2,000 students annually over 5 years starting in 2024, the scale of the current expansion has been reduced to roughly 1/3 of that. The Korean Medical Association criticized the plan immediately during an emergency press conference. It argued that the government's workforce projections lacked a basis.
The stated purpose of expanding medical school quotas was to address shortages in regional and essential healthcare, but the measures discussed so far fall short of providing a real solution. There seems to be no significant change from previous proposals.
The expansion of medical school quotas has been the source of intense conflict between the government and doctors since 2024. But with university-specific quotas to be finalized in April, following a review by the Education Ministry, all eyes are on how the medical community will resolve lingering issues. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
Also on Tuesday, the investigation into South Korean e-commerce giant Coupang has confirmed that more than 33 million user accounts were exposed in a large-scale data breach. Cho Young-eun has this report.
According to the Ministry of Science and ICT on Tuesday, the names and email addresses of 33.67 million users had been leaked from the company's system, which is far more than the initially reported number of 4,500. Officials warned that the actual number of victims could be even higher as Coupang users often register delivery details for family members and acquaintances.
It has been confirmed that the hackers accessed delivery list pages containing names, phone numbers, delivery addresses, and partially anonymized shared entrance passwords. A total of 148,056,502 times.
According to the Joint Public-Private Investigation Team, attackers gained access to Coupang servers by exploiting vulnerabilities in its authentication system, and were able to bypass normal security procedures by forging digital access passes. However, authorities did not officially disclose the identity of the suspect and key details including the exact scale of the data leak, with the Personal Information Protection Commission expected to release further findings at a later date. Meanwhile, the investigation team said no secondary damage resulting from the breach has been confirmed so far. According to the ministry, Coupang will be fined for its delayed reporting and placed under formal investigation for failing to preserve key evidence, despite earlier government requests. The ministry said Coupang became aware of the breach at 4 p.m. on November 17, but did not report it to the authorities until 9:35 p.m. on November 19, far exceeding the legally mandated 24-hour reporting deadline. Under South Korean law, such delays are punishable by fines of up to 30 million won or approximately $20,000. Coupang will also be subject to a separate investigation as web access logs for a 5-month period in 2024 and application access records from late May to early June 2025 were missing. The government will instruct Coupang later this month to submit measures to prevent similar breaches and will inspect their implementation between June and July. 조영은, Arirang News.
The National Assembly opened its first government questioning session of the year on Monday. The three-day interpellation period covers a wide range of state issues from foreign diplomacy to the economy and has already begun to spark heated exchanges between parties. Our Moon Hae-ryun joins me in the studio to tell us more. Welcome back, Hae-ryun.
Good evening, Tammy.
So, Hae-ryun, tell us about this year's first interpellation session and what happened yesterday.
So, for those unfamiliar, an interpellation session is where members of the National Assembly question top government officials, from the Prime Minister to cabinet ministers and officials, on their policies and performance. This three-day session started off yesterday and will continue to Wednesday, addressing a wide range of different issues. On Monday, lawmakers focused on politics, diplomacy, unification and national security. Today, lawmakers centered their questions around the economy. Tomorrow, on Wednesday, the focus will be on culture, society and education. This is the second government Q&A session under the Yi administration, but as the first took place in the fall of 2025, where discussions were heavily focused on early administration issues such as the fallout from the December 3rd martial law declaration. This is essentially the first comprehensive evaluation of the administration under the assumption of normal governance. Furthermore, with the session taking place just a week before Seollal, South Korea's Lunar New Year holiday, lawmakers are seeing it as the first major opportunity to seize the initiative in shaping public opinion. On the first day, a debate quickly centered on questions regarding the Trump administration's plan to reimpose higher tariffs, as lawmakers passed a motion that approves the formation of a special committee to discuss a bill to support Korean investment in the U.S. The committee will consist of 16 members and will be active until March 9th.
Now, Hae-ryun, what about today's session? Do give us a recap of day 2.
So today's session zeroed in on economic issues with the country's economy, trade and budget ministers all in attendance. Opposition lawmakers continue to press the government on concerns surrounding rising U.S. tariff pressures, such as the fact that South Korea's top trade officials have not been able to meet with their American counterparts during their recent visit to Washington, and that the government may not be taking U.S. concerns over non-tariff barriers strongly enough.
Amid the critical South Korea-U.S. tariff talks, the government must restore trust in the bilateral relationship.
Prime Minister Kim Min-seok acknowledged these concerns but argued that Trump's tariff threats are largely negotiating pressure, noting that no formal steps have yet been taken and that the government is managing talks despite structural disadvantages.
It is clearly pressure, and it is a burden for us, but it is not something that happened because we did something wrong.
He also added that the government's assessment is that the tariff pressure has resurfaced as a result of legislative delays cited by Trump, rather than non-tariff barriers. Meanwhile, ruling party lawmakers highlighted the Yi administration's achievements, such as South Korea's benchmark KOSPI surpassing the 5,000 mark and rising exports in sectors such as semiconductors, shipbuilding and the defense industry.
While the KOSPI reaching 5,000 is a major achievement, it won't create a virtuous capital market cycle unless it feeds into the venture and innovation sector.
Now, Hae-ryun, we do have one more day to go in the three-day session. What can we expect in the days to come?
So tomorrow, the National Assembly will focus its questions on culture, society and education. A plenary session is also due to open on Thursday, where lawmakers are expected to process livelihood-related bills following bipartisan agreements to handle legislation that had been agreed upon in advance. The DP plans to negotiate with the opposition to pass as many non-controversial bills as possible, with more than 120 bills currently pending. If only non-contentious bills are handled on the 12th, clashes over disputed legislation are expected to be postponed until after the Lunar New Year holiday, with the DP planning a separate plenary session later in the month to address contentious bills.
I see. Hae-ryun, thank you for your report tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
We're now only a week away from this year's Seollal, and the cost of holiday foods is in the spotlight again. Although expenses can add up, there are more affordable ways to prepare them. Our Park Jun-an tells us.
As South Korea's Lunar New Year Seollal approaches, families are gathering to prepare food for the charit table, the ancestral rite table that is a key part of the holiday, featuring a feast of traditional dishes. According to the Seoul Agri-Fisheries and Food Corporation's latest survey on Monday, the average cost of food for a standard 6-7 person charit table has risen by at least 4% at traditional markets and large supermarkets. But there is one place where prices have actually fallen more than 4% from last year, making it much cheaper than retail malls. That place is Arirang, located in Seoul. Here, the average cost of food for a Seollal charit table is 205,510 Korean won, or around $141. This is 12.1% cheaper than the average traditional market, and a whopping 24.2% cheaper than the average large supermarket. Now, take a look at this chicken. According to Seoul City estimates, prices here are nearly half of what you pay at large supermarkets, based on a standard 1.2 kilogram comparison. For shoppers, this market offers the advantage of seeing and choosing a wide range of items firsthand, from meat and seafood to vegetables and fruit, all at reasonable prices.
I bought some beef and pork. It is cheaper here since it is a wholesale market, and with my children coming over, I plan to make dumplings and prepare a variety of dishes so that we can all eat well together.
And here's how you can save even more money. The mall is running its Onnuri gift certificate event. Shoppers who spend 34,000 won or more will receive a 10,000 won gift certificate, while those who spend 67,000 won or more will get the maximum certificate for 20,000 won. The event will be run from Tuesday through Saturday. As the number of certificates is limited, the earlier you go, the better. Park Jun-an, Arirang News.
South Korea's PC rooms are evolving into major tourist attractions, with the top Korean League of Legends elite teams opening their own brand new spaces. Fans from around the world are flocking to these new holy grounds. Our Jung Hae-rim takes us there.
At first glance, this PC room in Dongdaemun-gu looks like just another typical internet cafe found on every corner in Seoul. However, take a closer look and you'll see the logos of Gen.G, a premier team in the LCK, Korea's domestic League of Legends league, displayed throughout. Here at GGX, Gen.G's team-operated PC room, visitors can experience not only high-quality gaming environments, but also get a chance to display their love for esports. Visitors can order Korean specialties labeled as the team players' favorite foods directly from their seats. Another noticeable feature is a fan store stocked with goods from uniforms to league merchandise that fans just cannot ignore.
I visited because it was the player Duro's birthday on February 4th, and I heard there was a special promotion at the store.
But the experience goes beyond shopping and snacking. On match days, this space transforms into a mini stadium. Fans gather for viewing parties to watch live games on a giant screen, cheering together for every kill and victory.
So you have like a restaurant, you have a community zone when you can watch party. When you're a fan of this sport, Gen.G is such a good institution, so you got to respect that.
For games and esports lovers, not only from Korea, but around the world, PC rooms are turning into tourist spots. Over in Hongdae, a surge of tourists can be seen flocking to T1 base camp. Home to T1, the league's most popular team, led by the legendary Faker, the entire venue is dedicated to the players, with large screens along with a red and white interior. Fans can even customize their own team jerseys on site.
This atmosphere of T1 fans around, and it's kind of cool to see all this merchandise and all these kind of collectibles, and I kind of wanted to come here and check it out myself and spend a little bit of time while I'm visiting Korea to have this experience.
Fans of T1 visit a lot. It feels like people from all around the world come to Hongdae.
As the global fan base for Korean esports continues to explode, these venues are cementing their status as a must-visit tourist destinations. 정혜림, Arirang News.
Hello and welcome. I am your AI sports correspondent, Arirang. This section features AI-generated content and scripts bringing you the latest news from the Olympic Winter Games Milano Cortina 2026. Here are our top stories. South Korean snowboarder Yoo Seung-eun won the bronze medal in the women's big air final at Livingno Snow Park on Monday. Yoo recorded a combined score of 171.00 points after successfully landing to triple cork 1,440 maneuvers in her first two runs. Japan's Kokumo Murray took the gold medal with 179.00 points, while Zoe Sadowski-Synnott of New Zealand earned silver with 172.25 points. Yoo is the first South Korean athlete to win a medal in the big air event, which became an official Olympic sport at the 2018 Pyeongchang Games. This result marks the second medal for South Korea at these games, following a silver in the men's snowboard parallel giant slalom on Sunday. South Korea is celebrating a double victory in Milan. Veteran Kim Sang-kyum earned silver in the parallel giant slalom, while 18-year-old Yoo Seung-eun took bronze in the big air, becoming the first Korean woman to win a snowboard medal. For their efforts, Kim will receive 200 million won, or about $137,000, and Yoo 100 million won, or $68,500 in bonuses. The Korea Ski Association's incentive program also extends beyond the podium. For major events like the Olympics and World Cups, athletes finishing up to 6th place are eligible for cash prizes. This policy aims to support top-tier talented athletes across all levels of international competition. South Korean speed skater Lee Na-hyun placed 9th in the women's 1,000-meter race on Monday at the Milano Speed Skating Stadium. Lee completed the event in 1 minute, 15.76 seconds. Her 9th-place finish was the highest for a South Korean athlete in this distance. Jutta Leerdam of the Netherlands secured the gold medal with an Olympic record time of 1 minute, 12.31 seconds. Fellow South Korean Kim Min-sun finished 18th. Both Lee and Kim are scheduled to compete in their primary event, the 500-meter race, this coming Sunday. South Korea's winter stars are ready to shine in Milan. Figure skating ace Ta Jun-hwan takes to the ice for the men's short program on Wednesday. After a minor slip in the team event, Ta is focused on a clean performance for the individual medal race. Meanwhile, teenage sensation Choi Ga-won makes her Olympic debut in the snowboard half-pipe qualifiers. Ranked world number 1 this season, the 17-year-old is a top gold medal contender. Both athletes are looking to make history for Team Korea. Before we head out, let's look ahead. Appearing now on your screen are the current medal standings and the upcoming schedule for the Olympic Winter Games Milano Cortina 2026.
No need to worry about the cold today, but rain or snow is falling across the country. By tomorrow morning, rainfall is expected to reach about 5 to 50 millimeters. In colder areas, this rain will turn into snow. Up to 10 centimeters of snow could fall in the mountainous areas of Jeju Island, where a heavy snow advisory has been issued. Meanwhile, many eastern areas are not seeing that much rain or snow. Therefore, dry weather warnings and advisories are still in place for parts of the east. Most areas will start off above freezing temperatures, with Seoul and Gwangju at 1 degree. Highs will rise up to 6 degrees in Seoul and Chuncheon, 10 degrees in Gyeongju and Jeju. Later this week, daytime temperatures in Seoul could climb up to around 10 degrees Celsius, making it feel more like early spring. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
That is all we have for tonight. I'm Kim Dami. From all of us here at Arirang, thanks for watching and good night.